INFJs are a distinct subgroup. This uncommon Myers-Briggs personality type, which only makes up 1% to 2% of the population, is a paradox of characteristics. INFJs are known as the counselor or the advocate because they are enthralled by people and enjoy helping them. However, their desire to maintain enduring relationships occasionally runs counter to their introverted character. Additionally, they exhibit a complicated fusion of idealism and realism features. They are visionaries and dreamers who are firmly grounded enough to take action to realize their goals. Their unwavering commitment to success often clashes with their extremely empathic character and yearning for peace in their relationships, in addition to this contradicting aspect. For the sensitive and emotional INFJ, these conflicting traits can make life challenging. Others might view us as baffling puzzles that are enticing and mysterious all at once. Being an INFJ myself, I value my distinct personality and seemingly incongruous combination of attributes. I have to admit, though, that even I find some aspects of my makeup to be a little confusing. I'll list 4. Can you relate, INFJ? 4 sincere INFJ confessions. 1. Sometimes I jeopardize my prospects of making friends. I strive to be compassionate and caring, like other INFJs do, but I only let a few people into my inner circle. I can't even count how many social invitations I've accepted, only to start thinking of reasons to back out seconds later. Others attempt to breach the barriers preventing access to my inner sanctum. But what can I say? I have guards on duty 24 hours a day for these sacred spaces. The outcome. As an INFJ, my doors are frequently tightly sealed against potential companions, leading people to either conclude that I am snobby or give up the fight. Ironically, many of the people I avoid are lovely souls and kindred spirits who I can potentially bond with because of my intuitive nature. I still decide to take the lonely route. Why? This may be due in part to the fact that, like the majority of INFJs, I detest small conversation, and regrettably, this marks the beginning of a friendship. It's also difficult for me to let people inside my mental vortex. It's always spinning and churning with queries and worries. I worry that my ideas could come out as a little bit out there to others. I must admit that I sometimes act rather foolishly. As an illustration, I was brave enough to ask a teacher acquaintance over in the summer to discuss lesson plans for the approaching academic year. The reality was that I genuinely loved this girl and wished to learn more about her. I used the work agenda as a pretext to arrange a gathering. In order to make the planning session really unique, I got a variety of cocktails to mix and scheduled it for the evening. Although the planning session was fruitful, we wrapped up early. There was still an hour before her husband's return when he dropped her off at my house. What pauses of a pregnant woman! For the next 60 minutes, I stumbled and mumbled like a young girl attempting to talk to her crush. She invited my husband and I over for cocktails the next Saturday night when it was time for her to depart. I was totally unrestricted on a Saturday night. I informed her I had things in place, taking a forward step back 2 steps. Like the majority of INFJs, I frequently bravely wade into a social ocean before quickly running away from danger. Often, for us shy INFJs, the circumstance must be exactly right before we can emerge from our shell and resist the urge to do so right away. Because of this, deep friendships are uncommon. This might often make us feel alone and make us envious of the group of friends we see gathered in the mall cafe, laughing and chatting while sporting BFF necklaces. Well, Alexa, it looks like we're going to be on our own till the next social inspiration arrives. 2. I'd like to spend every Friday night alone myself. Stupid alert. I won't plan your weekend unless you're another INFJ, so don't do it. My fun-filled weekend, starting with a lengthy hot bath, cozy pajamas and a glass of wine, the pre-party ritual is performed. Allow the fun to begin. A decent book, some soul-searching music, a deep plunge into my own frenetic thoughts, and some computer study on my most recent passion round off the festivities. Shots of Jell-O. Overrated. Obnoxious dancing music. Without a doubt. My only nightlife destination is Club Peace, and there is typically only one member. On a Friday night, my spouse frequently tells me to stop working when he finds me using the computer. He doesn't realize that this is where I get comfort in my sweet spot. Even Cinderella's pleasure at the ball cannot compare to the beautiful moment of happiness experienced by INFJs when they are able to pursue their unquenchable curiosity for knowledge in the peace and quiet of their own homes while listening to soft music and lit candles. So go ahead, my extroverted buddies. I will still be there for you in the end, whether you go see the newest comedy at the neighborhood theater or have a good time with random people at the pub. After my own private party at home, I might even be prepared to poke my head out of my shell. 3. I can completely ruin a hobby. A pastime is a pursuit beyond one's normal work undertaken, and especially for enjoyment. According to Merriam-Webster, what generally begins as a pastime for INFJs develops into an obsession, a pursuit of greatness, or a frantic attempt at self-actualization. For instance, I began writing as a hobby even though I now work a 40-plus hour work week as a teacher. Like the majority of INFJs, I have a dynamic interior world, and writing about it or experimenting with language to evoke feelings gives me the challenge and relaxation that individuals of our type need. The issue is that our tendency toward perfection extends to even our hobbies. My interest has evolved into more of a compulsion. I read voraciously about writing techniques, get up at 4 a.m. to practice writing, and on and on. Don't bring any INFJs, including me, to one of those wine and paid workshops so we can have a fun night out. If we screw up our canvas and can't acquire another one to start over, you might find us drinking the bottle in a corner. The INFJ is constantly searching for excellence, and we won't let up until we do. 4. I am overly lenient with people. On the Myers-Briggs test, there is one question that always makes me reflect. Which is worse, being unfair or unmerciful, is the question. To be really honest, I usually lean toward mercy. INFJs, after all, have the extraordinary ability to inhabit another person, deduce their goals and behaviors, and experience intense empathy for them. The issue is that my judging nature frequently believes that justice must be done in order to bring about positive change. What would occur if emotional explanation X was used to excuse every speeder? What kind of society would we live in if all judges absolved criminals on the grounds that they had disordered upbringings or childhoods? I recognize the need to impose reasonable penalties for wrongdoing, but I'm not sure I'd be able to deliver such judgments. My feeling tendencies usually cause me to be a bleeding heart in the classroom. As an illustration, one of the students I know has to work a job to support his family. He enters with groggy eyes and drowsy gait and acknowledges that his task is incomplete. The rule: no late work is accepted. I am aware of the laws in my thoughts. I give him the hardest teacher look I can muster despite knowing the implications of not enforcing the rules equitably, and tell him to bring it tomorrow. Even after 20 years of teaching, I still struggle to do the right thing when it is the harsh thing. It nearly entirely demands that I set aside my fundamental nature. Thank God I have a strict disciplinarian spouse and decent school officials who, if I can only get myself to write out the referral to the office, can dispense justice. Yes, I am a jumble of vibrant contradictions that frequently cause me to shake my head in shame and occasionally scream in horror. I might not be the party animal. I may not be the outgoing free spirit who will impress you with her karaoke, nor am I necessarily the strong commander who brings about steadfast allegiance. But what the heck? I can be fairly likable for those who can get past my jumble of eccentricities. A devoted worker, a devoted friend, and a really wonderful person. You, my INFJ reader, must be as well.